Story 1. When I was at my first middle school dance, there was a guy that I thought was a girl, right? Super long blonde hair, skinny as a rail. I didn't ask him out, but I did ask him to dance. I never really got to live that down, but he did cut his hair shortly after that, so I'm guessing that wasn't the first time that happened. Turned out to be a pretty cool dude, and we became friends. Story 2. I was new to sushi when I saw the sushi section in the supermarket. Even though I was skeptical about supermarket sushi, I went over there to check it out. A woman came up to me and asked if their sushi was good. And I said I didn't know because I was new to sushi. She said there was a place right down the street that was really good. She asked if I had ever been there, and I said no. She continued telling me how good it was, how she liked to go, and so on. We talked for a minute or two about the restaurant, and she even said something like, "But I don't know a lot of people who eat sushi, so nobody will go with me." Eventually, I said, "Thanks for the information. Maybe I'll check it out," and then walked away. Later that day, I realized what she was getting at. She was cute too. A missed opportunity for sure. Story 3. Wasn't me, but it happened to me. I went over to my neighbor's apartment to play poker. He and his boyfriend had invited a few other guys over to play. At one point in the evening, one of the guys sitting next to me mentioned that there are 6 of us and we could pair up for some fun time, as he put his arm over the back of my chair. Before I could react, everyone else burst out laughing, and my neighbor said to him, "Dude, you picked the only straight guy to hit on at a table full of gay men." I took it in stride, everyone laughed, and we played more poker. No extra fun times for him. Story 4. I suppose this may still count here. Technically, this wasn't while asking someone out, probably more the opposite. So when I first started university, there were a bunch of parties and social events. I'm fairly good at blending in, but I'm also an introvert, and back then I knew even less about the unwritten rules of socializing. So, I was talking to this girl off and on during the evening, and after a while, it's just the two of us talking when she offers me her number. Now, this is where my social insecurity steps in. I had no idea what was expected of me in getting her number, what it would entail if I was expected to text her, what I was expected to do, and so on. It also doesn't help that in our talk leading up to her offering me her number, she had mentioned something about how she was annoyed with people not replying to texts or taking a long time doing that. Well, my brain essentially shut down when she offered her number, and I replied with, "What am I going to do with your number?" It was probably just confusion, and in the end, it was actually an honest question because I had no idea what to really do in the situation. Needless to say, she didn't take it very well and pretty much left immediately, leaving me standing there somewhat confused. It wasn't until much later that I realized my actions probably looked like the biggest rejection ever. Story 5. I asked out a fairly regular patron of ours, this was over 10 years ago, to dinner. She smiled, held up her hand, and showed she was married. 2 old ladies next to us were laughing at me. Taught me a lesson I still adhere to today. Always check the rings. Story 6. Did the same thing in college, brother. But I then doubled down and asked her girlfriend when the first girl said she wasn't interested. I had a lot to learn. Story 7. You mean other than asking when she wasn't listening, and then, when she asked what you said, just kind of mumbling and walking away? Never went to prom. Story 8. In high school, once I was bent over getting something out of my bag, and an upperclassman walked by and said something like, "Damn, she has a thick ass." Then I looked up and he was like, "Oh no." His friends teased him hard for that. I'm gay now. Story 9. I was high and thought this cute girl on a motorcycle winked at me. So I posted a missed connections type post on the town Facebook page. Her husband replied. Story 10. Pulled a slick move asking a girl to prom. A+ stuff, a few of her friends came by to gush about it even. Turns out she was dating a friend of mine, and they had been keeping it a secret because her dad didn't like African American guys. I was especially bummed because I thought her dad was cool too. Story 11. I once asked this hostess out on a date. I spoke with her and thought we had a connection and all, but I guess I didn't really watch her walking around, because when I asked her, she was like, "I'm 8 months pregnant," and got all pissed off. I didn't even notice until she said that. Another time, I used to frequent this bar a lot, and there were a few very attractive waitresses there. I couldn't ask them all out because that would just be dumb. So I asked one of them out, and she ended up saying she was seeing someone. The guy ended up being a chef at my work, and we were going to be roommates at the start of the next month. So it was pretty awkward when we moved in together and she came over. Story 12. Hey, I kind of had the reversal of this situation. I was at a bar not long after I turned 21 and I see this gorgeous guy there and he steps outside to have a smoke with his friend. Being a smoker myself and having had a little liquid courage, I decided to step outside too and try to strike up a conversation. I'm super shy though, so luckily Mr. Handsome and his friend started talking to me first. Midway through the conversation, I abruptly asked, "Hey, are you straight?" Luckily, the guy was a good sport about it, chuckled, and told me he was. I then went, "Damn it, sorry. I just asked because I think you're really handsome, and if you were gay, I was going to ask you out." He and his friend just had a good laugh, and he told me that he was really flattered by my offer, but alas, he only liked the gals. He was also wearing these almost sort of short shorts that night too, and asked me, "Was it the shorts that made you think I might be gay?" I went, No, okay. Yes, but you're still super cute regardless." Both break out laughing even harder, and the guy said he should probably reconsider his fashion choices. He was such a good sport about the whole thing and was so sweet too, telling me that if he was gay, he'd be super lucky and said he bet that I'm really cute to gay guys. Freaking melted my heart. He was just so sweet and handsome. He also said he really liked that I asked him his sexual orientation first and immediately backed off once he said he was straight. He was like, "Dude, you're such a gay gentleman. How are you single?" Ironically, it just made it hurt more because not only was he super handsome, he was incredibly polite and kind, and I had a 0% chance with him. As I was leaving the bar, both the cute guy and his friend gave me a hug and said, "Hey man, don't worry. Your Prince Charming is out there. Don't give up." While being gay still has its issues, it's never been a better time to be gay. The vast majority of straight guys are always super chill about it and usually take it as a compliment. So, even though it was a failure, it was the best possible failure with everyone having a good laugh and no one getting hurt. I'm so glad to live in a day and age where when I respectfully approach a handsome straight man and politely ask him out, there's a 99% chance he's going to be super cool about it, thank me for the compliment, and politely decline the offer. Story 13. I had something very similar happen. I had a crush on this girl, was going nuts for her, and was about to ask her out. Literally a few minutes before I was going to, I found out that she was both taken and a lesbian. I actually had a good laugh about that. Story 14. When I was younger and still going to high school, there used to be this girl. Every morning riding the bus, she'd sit in the back with a certain group of people. Me being the social anxiety wreck that I was, I always sat in the middle. During gym every day, I had the pleasure of getting over my fear, and we'd chat, goof around, and have a good time. She would do these subtle things that told me she liked me, or so I thought. Apparently, that's just how she was. Fast forward a few weeks, and I decide maybe I can ask her out. I had the biggest crush on her, and I thought she liked me. So the time came, and my plan was to get on the bus, sit in the back with her before the group got there, and ask her out. I got on the bus and chickened out. In the middle of the day, I said screw it and decided I'd just ask her on the way home. Well, apparently that morning when the group got on the bus, this guy must have had feelings as well and asked her out, and she said yes. I blew my chance. A month passes, and she instant messages me. Yes, this was long ago, and we're talking and catching up. I admitted to her that I used to have a crush on her and was going to ask her out that day when the guy from the group asked her out. Out of curiosity, I asked what she would have said, and she said that she would have dated me, lol. I don't know if the bullet was missed or not, but yeah, that's one story I had where I messed up. Story 15. I had a similar story. I was at this event, and the woman in the booth next to mine was very cute. We were chatting, and it was pretty casual, but we had a lot in common. At the end of the day, she said something like, "Well, I'll see you next time, right?" So I went for it and asked her out, and then she mentioned that not only is she a lesbian, but she's engaged to be married. Oops. Story 16. I asked a girl out to a concert. She was from my school, university. I asked her out a couple of days before the actual event. Every time I saw her, she talked about it and was excited. The day of the concert, she asked me, Is it all right if my boyfriend comes? Long story short, I went on a date with this girl, her boyfriend, and his roommate. Story 17. Last year, I was at a bar in the city. There was a cute girl at the bar and what appeared to be her friend having some drinks. The cute girl had a sleeve, and I love tattoos, so I was fixated on this for conversation. We then talked for a little while about her tattoos. Apparently, a buddy who witnessed the whole ordeal told me what happened, as I have no recollection. I asked her if she wanted to go to another bar with me. She said no, she just wanted to stay and have drinks with her partner. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you all were together. You do make a cute couple, though." To which she replied, "Thanks, but we aren't a couple. We are police officers. She is my partner." I paid my tab and left. Story 18. Me, my older buddy, and his attractive wife are at Oktoberfest in Germany. We are wearing the outfits and feeling quite authentic. We snag a table, and at some point, two really attractive Canadian girls and their German friend join us. Things are going well, exceedingly well. Both girls seem interested in me, and my buddy's wife is the world's greatest wing woman. She's bringing her best effort, and so am I. It looks like I might succeed. Suddenly, three guys from Switzerland show up and ask, "Can we sit here?" Nobody has been letting us join the tables. We say sure. Big mistake. I felt legitimate wearing my lederhosen, but these guys look like they grew up in theirs. They were so attractive, even I found them charming. I've never faced a more challenging struggle than I did that night as these guys continued to tactfully, and without any form of rudeness, overshadow me. You could probably see the hope fading from my eyes. The guys suggest going to another beer tent for food. My buddy has left for the bathroom. The other girls are down to leave. Buddy's wife says, "Go, dude. Go get some attention. We will see you later." We all make our way to another tent. We are all pretty drunk. I kiss one of the girls. At some point, the other one is holding my hand. I decide I must focus on one. There's no way I'm leaving with both anymore. I shift my attention to the one who seems most interested as we get to the new tent. We find a table and order food. The food comes and we start eating. The other girl is now fully flirting and cuddling with, I'm pretty sure his name was Hans, and I'm sitting next to the other girl. I've had a lot of beer and need to use the restroom badly. I've been holding off because I don't want to give these guys an opportunity. I finally decide to go. I get back to my seat to find my plate cleared, and one of the other guys is in my seat making out with the girl I was interested in. Good game, Hans and Franz. Good game. I picked up his beer and drank it without breaking eye contact, grabbed a chicken leg off his plate, and walked away. Rest in peace, my pride. And the worst part is, I never found my friends again that night. Story 19. I was at a local video game store. There was this cute girl looking at the Nintendo DS games. We started a conversation, and everything was going great. I asked for her number, and she replied, "I'm 15. Turns out her mother was in the next aisle and glared at me. It wasn't my best moment. I should list my age. I was 19, almost 20 at the time. Story 20. I was at a Dairy Queen with some friends and thought these two girls working there were good-looking enough for me to ask them for their number. I figured if the first one I asked wasn't into it, I'd have another chance with the other one. So I got up and walked to the counter and said, "Hey, I thought you were pretty cute and wanted to know if I could get your number." She kind of stared at me like, "What did you just say?" And after about 4 seconds of us staring at each other, she said she was a lesbian and she wasn't interested. Caught off guard by the response, I just stammered, "Oh, okay. Thanks anyway," and quickly rushed back to my friends. I told them what happened, and we all found it pretty hilarious. I still wanted to ask for the other girl's number, so I got up and walked over to her. She was cleaning tables. It was kind of late, probably like 9 p.m. I said the same thing I said to the previous girl verbatim, and she started laughing and said that she was a lesbian too, and her girlfriend worked here too. She pointed to the girl behind the counter and told me that was her. I was completely beside myself. Not only did I ask 2 lesbians for their number, I asked 2 dating lesbians for both their numbers. Story 21. The first week after moving to the East Coast, my roommate took me to a bar. Feeling confident with my new job and decent salary, finally living on my own, I started chatting with the local patrons. After a few drinks, I felt bold enough to ask out the woman I had been talking to. She casually mentioned that she has a fiancé. I responded, "Oh, cool. Where's your fiancé now?" "I'm her fiancé, but nice try," replied the bartender who had been serving me drinks all night. I turned pale, but trying to avoid further embarrassment, I shrugged and said, "'Kay, Sarah, Sarah." At that moment, a woman who had been trying to hit on me all night started singing the song, drunkenly and off-key. I took that as a sign to leave, paid my bill, and haven't stepped into that bar ever since.